For years, I told myself if I ever really tried game dev, I would be good at it. But here's the truth, it was just an excuse. And not starting felt safe, but actually, it was the biggest failure of all of them. Hi, I'm Martin. I'm chasing my dream of making games and spend about 1,500 hours doing so. This purely is about sharing my story, my thoughts, and my learnings. This is not a guide or anything like that. Don't take everything with a grain of salt. It's just a random guy in the internet who speaks here. I wanted to make games like for a long time, but instead of starting, I kept making excuses. If I only had the time, the money, the friends, the chance, whatever to start, then I would be a really good game developer. Then kicked in that's not really what I wanted to do. There is no benefit in the world for that, for doing game dev. Then it kicked in, yeah, my parents didn't want that I spend so much time in front of a computer and all of that stuff. Like maybe you know that. The problem was I made up a bunch of excuses, like just to feel safe. Thing is, like these excuses were there to protect me of something, from like shame, from fear, from disappointment, and all of those excuses came from like my ego. I had a lot of points where I thought like I had high expectations to myself, and I projected those onto other people around me. So the shame becomes even like harder and more and greater. And I feared a lot of judgment from others, but at most from myself. And so this excuse is kind of tried to kept me away from those pain points and from those things why I shouldn't do it. And those kept me then basically away from doing what I enjoyed the most, is kind of making games. And the fun part is like I tried during my life on multiple occasions to start games. When I was in the university, we had some projects which were involved in game dev, and I really enjoyed this stuff. I really liked it. I did some games, some smaller ones for myself, but always when I came to the critical point of now it comes to like, oh, you see that you suck in doing it. Then I stopped and go back and said, oh, if I only had time, if I only whatever, if I met the right people, whatever. So that was a real disaster. But eventually I kept myself to start actually doing it. It was not that I didn't suck, like all of that stuff come true. I fail a lot of my expectations, and the games I make or the prototypes I make, I would rather say, were really, really bad. But over time, like they kicked in like the good parts of all of this stuff. So the creative expression and the joy of doing it, the joy of creation kicked in, and I really felt like in love with this stuff. And over time, then keeping to it, like I felt that I do improve and then I learn. And the hardest part of that stuff was not that I learned or improved, it was to accept that I'm not as good as I told myself all the time. Maybe that's a different topic and maybe a different video, but like coming down from this high horse, I don't know how to say it in English, but like from this high expectations of yourself, which makes you believe that you are special or something. All of that is, sorry for my language, but it's bullshit kind of. And so like it was really painful in the beginning, but over time like it becomes so fun, and I really started to enjoy the process itself. It is like, not that I'm so much like experienced about it stuff, no, but like in this little time I spent in this area, like 1,500 hours, maybe even more, like I learned how fun it is to have a process established and enjoying what you're doing. And then one part which I just explored recently or I understood recently is like that doing this brought me more to be myself and not to pretend to be anyone else. And at first I thought it's not such a huge thing, but for me it's a huge thing, because like I feel I can just be myself, have fun going with it, and don't be ashamed anymore of anything, of if the prototype sucks or the game sucks or whatever. It's whatever, I have fun, but it's myself. I find a way to express myself, and that's like a huge win. The last thing can set up yourself for finishing or not finishing is just like often the perspective you have. And since I explored that, it feels really good. It feels really good to start it, the game dev journey, and kept through all of this struggle here, which is part of life, to learn and to have those pains. And the main point for me is this does not hurt because it's pain in itself. It hurts because like I'm not trained this skill of going through and actually trying and actually biting into something and sticking to it, and then take the pain and the grind maybe as well, if you want to say so. And this is like not pain I have because game dev sucks. It's I never trained to get over these expectations of myself, as well as being bad in something you actually care about. Now it's like I'm enjoying the process even more than I could have guessed. Like it's so much fun. Getting rid of those things like was so much pain in the beginning, but now I'm so clear what I want to do, and it feels really good. Not starting felt really safe. If we go back to that, like it is the thing why you don't start. But it actually is the worst failing of all because you never start doing what you actually want to do because of that. Just because of that, I made up my excuses, and I needed the realization that life is too short. If I have now to choose between never actually trying it and those excuses I have, those excuses are the smaller pains. So for me, the realization that life is short, and if I actually want to do some stuff, I should do it, was like the most important part. And to see that what I wanted to do is only reachable if I start. Otherwise, it will all stay dreams. Yeah. So, so if you are hesitating, don't wait for the perfect moment. Just start, even if the results are suck. What matters is this you enjoy it. Thanks for watching.